Alright, we got our chat up. Close. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. There we go. We got 3 minutes. Let's do a test for episode 6. That went through. Fantastic. Let's see here. In OBS Studio, do you get to see how many people are in the room on YouTube, or do you only get to see after they have chatted?
In OBS Studio, there isn't a native viewer count meter built directly into the interface like you might see on Twitch. By default, you do not see the number of people in the room just by starting a stream. However, you don't have to wait for people to chat to see your audience. There are 3 main ways to see your live viewer count inside OBS. 1. The built-in YouTube chat dock. When you connect your YouTube account to OBS via Settings Stream Connect account, OBS automatically opens a chat dock.
Yep.
The limitation standard YouTube chat docks usually only show the messages. They often don't display a real-time concurrent viewer count at the top. The experience. You'll see people as they chat, but if 100 people are watching silently, the dock won't necessarily show 100 viewers. 2. Custom browser docks. The best way. You can manually add a dock that shows your YouTube Studio dashboard. This allows you to see the real-time viewer graph and count without leaving OBS. 1. Go to Docs Custom Browser Dock.
Alright, people, we are live. We got another minute, so I'm trying to figure out some more behind the scenes. If you couldn't figure out by now, give it a name, YouTube stat. Paste the URL of your YouTube live control panel. Okay. Do we know the URL for our YouTube live control panel? Alright, we got less than a minute. We will fix that one after this morning's podcast. While we wait, anyone who has been following us, we are going to do these once a morning. And you'll see that this has a much more structured setup. Thank you, Media and Tech. Where was I going with that? It's morning, it's cold. I'm trying to function. Yes, okay, that's what it is. We have had a higher than anticipated demand and questions around QuickBooks Online. So we have decided to that's a huge topic. So we've decided to split it into 2. Because the way that you use QuickBooks Online for real estate is different than how you should use QuickBooks Online for some other businesses. And since our focus is real estate, we felt it would be not aligned with the company focus. So on this channel, on this specific channel, we will be doing QuickBooks for real estate investors, and for non-real estate investors, or if you want to use QuickBooks in other capacities, we're going to start creating content at my other company, Your Money Sign. But we're doing all of this while our regular stuff and while I'm preparing for back surgery. So if you are watching this live, then give us a little time. Be a little patient with us. We're humans. We're humans. But that's what the future will be. So if you clicked on this, or if you see any of our videos and they were about QuickBooks Online, know that QuickBooks Online, our training is for real estate investors. If you are just a small business owner, and I don't mean that to be degrading, I mean if you're not anything other than the real estate investor, we're going to start referring you over to Your Money Sign. And when we have content available, it'll start being available in the description below. So if there's nothing in the description below, congratulations, you're with us from the beginning. You're going to see that true starting of businesses is just a messy win. You're going to win, but it's going to be messy. All right, we have the chat up. We'll get that URL. Okay. All right, fantastic. Well, let's go ahead and start then. Thank you for tuning in to our morning live. It is our goal to have these lives so that as you're driving to work or driving for dollars, you've got something to listen to, or while you're sitting in the morning drinking your coffee, kind of figuring out how to do your day, you can have a quick little thing to focus on. These lives are live for a reason. We want to start interacting and being able to answer questions. So if at any time you have a question, no matter how old the video is, please ask it. If we can't answer it and you see somebody ask a question you can answer, please answer it. Like, we're stronger together. Let's be a helpful community here. We are going to, look at that. That worked. I didn't have to resize it or anything. Oh, I feel a little accomplished, not gonna lie. Okay, soundbite, okay. Here we go, people. Official soundbite. Good morning and welcome to episode 6. This is the REI Ledger. We are a QuickBooks online bookkeeping company. We specialize in real estate investors. My name is Miss C. Thega. I am the CEO of the REI Ledger. I am the CEO of Your Money Sign and author of the book Your Money Sign, second edition coming soon. You can find more about us at www.thereiledger.com. Let's get into it. All right, the most important question from a bookkeeping firm that people ask. And they say, do I need a bookkeeper as a real estate investor? Now, honestly, we don't get that question. We get, what do you do? Aren't you an accountant? Oh, don't you do my taxes? So let's begin by clarifying a few terms. Bookkeeping is about data entry. It's about knowing what's happened in the past. It's recording it for the records of history. That is bookkeeping. It is data entry. CPA can help you with strategizing, with CFO. CFO is like future forecasting. They do a lot of higher level things, not data entry. So if you were to go to a bookkeeper and a CPA and ask them each, hey, can you be my bookkeeper? Can you enter in all of my transactions? You're going to get a yes from the bookkeeper and you're going to get a quote. And you may or may not get a yes from the CPA. If you do get a yes from the CPA, I promise you they are either charging double for their time, or they have a subcontractor, they have their own bookkeeper, and they're going to charge you to pay that bookkeeper plus them. So can you do it? Absolutely. But you're going to get two different prices. Not to mention, a CPA does a lot of different things than a bookkeeper. And I am not, as a bookkeeper, obviously, I see the value in bookkeeping. But I need you to understand that it's like saying, oh, who's more valuable, your plumber or your electrician? Well, that's a silly question because they're both important, right? So they just have different trades. So when you're talking to somebody who is a bookkeeper versus a CPA versus a tax consultant or a tax preparer, and the reason why I get so mushed is because so many people wear different hats. It's like meeting somebody who says, oh yeah, I do plumbing and I do electrical and I do drywall and I do cement. On the surface, that can look like, oh sweet, I found a one-stop shop. If you're more experienced, you tend to understand why it's important to get somebody who says, oh no, I'm an electrician, that's it. I'm going to notice a code violation immediately. I'm not going to sit there while I'm looking at your electrical also thinking about how to give you an estimate for this and how to give an estimate for that. And look, you really need somebody who has a focus. And a lot of people out there are solopreneurs, they're by themselves, and they're trying to put on as many hats as possible, because they're trying to make a book and they're trying to add service. So, do you need a bookkeeper as a real estate investor? Bottom line is, you already have one. Whoever you are using to record all of your transactions, that's your bookkeeper. If that's you, if that is somebody on your team, or if you're hiring it out to somebody. I'm just letting you know that bookkeeping is like a prenup. You have one. Whether you and your spouse drafted it or you wait until, in case of a divorce, the government gives it to you, but you have one. So, do I need a bookkeeper as a real estate investor? Well, you already have one. So, I don't think that is exactly the question to be asking. Let's go to the next slide where this is for the newbies. I want to be completely straight. There's no gatekeeping here. Like we're not here to try to say we're so much better than other people, you can never be us. We're going to outwork you and we're going to have a tech stack that will just make it ridiculously impossible for you to keep up with us, but we're not going to gatekeep. So, you can do it all yourself. You can. You can also do your own plumbing. You can also do your own electrical. You can also do your own cement work. You can also do your own hard money lending. Go out there and raise up money and then borrow it out to yourself. And yeah, you can do it. You can do it all. And I hope that if you're listening to this, you're laughing. Because if you're not laughing, you're in this category. You are still in the mindset of, I can handle everything. I should handle everything. As a bookkeeper, I have to tell you that doing the books for the person who thinks they can do everything is kind of a nightmare because while they do everything, they have lost the focus. So you don't really get to see where the business is going. And even by the time you get that information to them, they're so swamped doing absolutely everything else, they can't take on that new mindset. I hope that made sense. So you can do it all yourself. Now, what does it mean all? As a bookkeeper, you will record every transaction. You will categorize every transaction for your specific tax code. This is where the real skill comes in, is understanding where to categorize it. And I'm not going to try to flood you here because I'm just trying to get through these first basics. You're going to record a transaction. You spent $500 at Home Depot. You're going to categorize this. Was this for 123 Main Street or was this for 567 8th Street? You first need to understand, where was the property? What was it for? I'm flooding again. I know, I'm trying. Okay, so you're going to record, you're going to categorize. Then what you're going to do is at the end of the month, you're going to reconcile. What does reconcile mean? It just means, do your records match other people's records? That's all it means. And we use QuickBooks Online. So what that means is all of your connected banks and credit cards are on there, and QuickBooks will give us a little total. And then we go through there and we have everything listed that you've given us, all of your receipts, and we see what that total is. Let's just say that $500 purchase from Home Depot was cash, and you did not get us the receipt for that $500 cash withdrawal. Well, what it would show us is that according to QuickBooks, your bank account has $500 less in it than what our records show. So that's where we would come in and we would reconcile. We would reach out to you and say, hey, do you remember what this $500 cash withdrawal was on the 4th? That's reconciliation, making sure that the records match. Then you have your reports. Most basic bookkeeping reports are going to be your P&L, which if you're a newbie, you don't know, it's called profit and loss. And then your balance sheet. This is going to show you your assets and your ledgers. A lot of newbies, when they're trying to do it themselves, how do I put this nicely? Your balance sheet and profit and loss statements are illegible. You have created so many categories and subcategories, and the organization is just not there. So even though you have all the information there, if your reports are illegible, you won't have any use for them. It's like paying for your Windows guy to do the windows, and he puts them up and they're of such low quality that you have to go and hire somebody else to come back in and redo it. Was that a good investment of your time and resources? So that's how the newbies think of bookkeeping. They think, I can keep all the receipts in a shoebox, and at the end of the year, I'll just send them into my CPA, and then their jaw absolutely drops when, one, the receipts are illegible, going back to the example of like a department store receipt. They all use a technology that fades. If you've ever kept a receipt for any amount of time, you know it fades. The ink fades off of it. So keeping a physical copy really isn't to your benefit. You need a digital copy. And if you just hand a shoebox full of receipts to your CPA, you're going to get an outrageous bill because they're not doing it, especially if it's during tax time. They've got tax stuff to do. They're going to subcontract it out to somebody else and then charge you for their inconvenience fee. So it's their jobs. It's a huge bill. Some of them are illegible, and they're going to have an email that has like, oh gosh, probably 300-400 transactions that they need clarity on. It's February 10th, and they're like, hey, do you remember what this purchase was for January 2nd of last year? We can't read the receipt. If you're a real estate investor, your focus needs to be on acquiring new acquisitions or exiting old, investments. It shouldn't be on the management. It shouldn't be on the hold. So you can do it all yourself. You can. And if you only have one property, you're probably going to try. And that's okay. I mean, if you have your first property, you're probably going to try to do the electrical yourself or the plumbing yourself. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So we want to let you know, as newbies, you can do it all yourself. You can. But once you're ready to start being a little more professional, you're ready to like actually start, you're going to get frustrated. You're going to run out of time. You're going to need to focus on your portfolio. You're going to hire a bookkeeper because otherwise you can't move forward. You can't. As a real estate investor, you should understand that if you're having to pay a tax preparer or a CPA an extra $8,000 because you decided not to keep track of your receipts all of last year, that's probably enough money to lock up another contract. So you're going to get to a point where you hire a bookkeeper. When you decide that you are going to hire a bookkeeper, you're going to run into a bit of a problem. There is a shortage in the marketplace of bookkeepers who understand how to bookkeep for real estate professionals. When we say real estate professionals, that is a gigantic bucket because how you would use a software like QuickBooks Online. No, we are not sponsored by them. Yes, we use them in our business, so you will hear us say it all the time. You may use something different, but we use QuickBooks Online. Just want to make that clear. When you use something like QuickBooks Online, there are different ways to organize your data. And you're organizing your data for two people. You, the investor, you want to know, am I making money? Am I not? And your tax preparer, whoever gets your taxes done for you, which is not the bookkeeper. That would go into the realm of tax preparer. So when you hire a bookkeeper, if your buddy is a plumber and gives you their bookkeeper, and the bookkeeper tries to run your fix and flip business the same way she does for the plumber and maybe her other 50 clients, she's very good at what she does. But if she tries to apply cogs to a fix and flip, you could potentially miss out on, and it's non exaggeration, tens of thousands of dollars of deductions. I hope that made your skin crawl a little bit because it did mine. It's nothing against bookkeepers. There's just nobody standardizing it in the marketplace, which is the goal of the REI ledger. We want to make it known and just make it part of the real estate investing community. And it is actually our hope that more bookkeepers start understanding how to do bookkeeping for real estate professionals so that we benefit from having a bookkeeper just as much as any other business owner. So when you go to hire a bookkeeper, you need to ask them, do they have experience with real estate? Do they understand that a wholesale deal should be categorized differently than your fix and flip deal, which should also be categorized differently than your LTR? So well, first off, hopefully you're doing those in separate LLCs, but they need to understand that there's a difference. And too many people didn't understand there was a difference, and voila, the REI ledger has been born. That is our mission, is to educate the real estate investors and the bookkeepers so that we can literally create a specialized focus. Maybe we start using a new word. I don't know. I want to see where the community takes us, but that's what this is for. Hey, look at that. That looks so good. All right. When you're experienced, once you are experienced and you find your specific bookkeeper, maybe you have to go through a couple of them. Like, you've got to find a bookkeeper who works for you. It is shocking how many solopreneur bookkeepers really aren't organized themselves, haven't embraced technology. They want you to send them a shoebox of paper receipts. Um, it's a little bit, at least for me, it was a little bit shocking when I started really researching it. So once you find a real estate specific bookkeeper that works with you and on your schedule, if you come with us, the REI Ledger, we will work on your books one dedicated day a week. What does that mean? That means the worst you're going to get, let's just say today's Friday, we do your books on Friday. The worst you're going to get is we're going to say, hey, do you remember what this purchase was for on Monday? That's all you got to remember. Now, if you're a real estate investor, you're going, oh my gosh, I don't even remember what kind of coffee I had this morning. I get it. Trust me, I get it, especially for my parents who are also real estate investors. You got like 5 full-time jobs going on right now. That's before your job. I get it. But that's the worst you're going to get from us. We update weekly. You are going to know what we need on a weekly basis. And if we don't need anything from you, we're still going to let you know, hey, everything cleared, everything balanced out, you're good to go. So you're not going to have to question and wonder what's going on. It's predictable. Our pay scale is a monthly fee. We have to look into your books to see what that fee would be first. We present it to you. If you don't agree, that's cool. Find somebody who can provide it for you. If you do agree, that's awesome. We can move you forward. And now you know what to expect. We are steady, we are reliable in a world that is chaotic. That's who we are. And if you find somebody who works for you, stay with them. That is actually for your benefit more than for the bookkeeper's benefit. Let me explain. When you know how to do something well, it takes less of your mental load. And as a real estate investor, wouldn't you agree? It's kind of important to maintain your mental abilities. You got so many other things to question and to worry about and to plan. Don't let bookkeeping be one of them. Once you set it up, you'll have to be involved in the setup, but once it's set up, you don't have to reinvest that energy. So when you find a real estate specific bookkeeper, stay with them. It is for your benefit to stay with them, whether it's us or not. We are not here, like I said, to try to gatekeep. We are here to try to provide value to the whole community, the bookkeeping community and the real estate investing community. We want to see a change in these markets. All right, here's a pro tip. I kind of touched on it at the beginning of this, and in bookkeeping world and bookkeeping terminology, it is called scope of work. What does that mean? Well, at the REI Ledger, we will record, categorize, reconcile, and report. That is our basic bookkeeping package. That is what we do. If you will notice, we did not say we will pay your bills. If you notice, we did not say we will track down people who need to pay you. If you notice, we did not say we will file your taxes. That is called scope of work. If you're doing the fix and flip and we're talking about the plumber and we're talking about the electrician, would you really want a plumber who is not certified in electronics at all, does not know the first thing? Maybe they've changed a light bulb, but never actually the socket, right? Or the wiring harness, sorry, that would be the socket. Would you want them to do something else as a pro? No, you wouldn't. So learn a bookkeeper's scope of work and then tell them, okay, it matches what I need to do, but I also need X, Y, Z. Do you do that in your scope of work? A lot of bookkeepers are open to it. They are open to it, but you have to agree to it in front in your letter of engagement. If you hire us for the basic package and then you try to say, oh, by the way, I would like you to send out invoices to my contractors for this upcoming job. Well, we're going to send you a separate letter of engagement with a separate quote of how to do that, because that is outside of our scope of work. So if you're going to deal with a bookkeeper, honestly, it's for anybody. I don't know if they all call it this, but you should ask them, what is your scope of work? What is it you actually do? What is it that will cost me extra? And what is it that you absolutely will not do? For example, let's say you're going to start a CRE or a REIT or some sort of place where you hire, you start collecting money from people. What we at the Real Estate Ledger things we will not do, we will not give you legal advice. We are not attorneys. Our attorneys that are on staff are for us, they are not for you. So we will absolutely tell you that's out of our scope of work. We can't help you. Or if you were to say, hey, I would like you to collect the money, here's the direct bank information. We will absolutely tell you that is outside of our scope of work. We will not do it. We will not ever use your direct login because that is your assets as your company. And maybe we should do an episode on that. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Okay. We could do that. Somebody write that down so I remember. All right. So just learn their scope of work. That is the pro tip for today. I've got like 5 minutes left. So this is follow us for more at the REI Ledger. We are currently on YouTube. That's how you found us. But we will be expanding to other platforms. I want to thank you for being here today. And if you've been with us from the beginning, you see that there's a lot of changes going on. And that's how things work. We weren't perfect. We didn't know our exact format. We're trying things. We're doing things. But here's the thing. We're consistently showing up for you. And we've had a few suggestions to take the questions, which we haven't had any questions this morning, which we figured we wouldn't. It's a Friday. Um, yeah. My team isn't on YouTube. So sorry if I'm losing y'all. We're still just newbies. We're still just trying to figure it out, but we have a goal, we have a mission, and we're not going to stop until we start seeing some real changes. Well, we're not going to stop. We just hope that as we don't stop, we see some real changes. That's what's going on here. We need your help to help change the industry. If you are a real estate investor, please start learning about what you actually need from a bookkeeper. If you are a bookkeeper, please start learning about what real estate investors need from us because it is a different data set that they need. We will not be doing these episodes on the weekends. Where this is a Monday through Friday morning only now. We had the idea of morning and evening, and that just turned out to be too hectic. The evening slot will now be for the other company so we can start doing some real trainings. If you are interested in learning about QuickBooks Online, we will start doing some screen grabs and some very, very basic walkthroughs of QuickBooks so that you can kind of figure them out. We're going to try to put together a educational course. Well, we will put together an educational course at some point. We're still kind of learning and figuring out the tech stack that we're going to use to do that, plus the platforms that we're going to use to put it out there. While we can quickly just throw it up on our website, the reiledger.com, we also want to make it more readily available. So we've been kind of talking around through our network. A lot of people have said when they wanted to do a bookkeeping course, the first thing they went to was Coursera. That name kept coming up constantly, so maybe we'll put it up on there. Um, but we're gonna try to put it as a low price. Obviously, we have to cover production cost, but we want to put up there for a low price. We're trying to get this information out. So if anything, we're like anti-gators. Oh, we can't say that. That sounds like we hate alligators. No, okay, we're anti-gatekeepers. There we go. We're gate openers. How's that? We're gate openers. We will open the gates for everybody. Okay, I see. Okay. All right, well, we are going to close out this live for this morning. We hope to see you on Monday morning. That will be February 23rd, I believe. Yes, February 23rd. Wow. Oh, like at one point in time, it's like it's going so fast. We've done so much. At the other point in time, it's like, wait, it's only been that long? It's awesome. I love it. I love building businesses. All right, y'all, you have a great day. We will catch you on Monday, and hopefully the swag will be in. We're trying to get t-shirts and yeah, I think what they said, a hat. It'll be weird to like be undercover again, but we'll see. We shall see. All you can do is get better. Get bitter or get better. We're gonna get better. Here we go. All right, see y'all on Monday.